My name is Evan Carter, 36 years old, a long-haul container trucker running cross-border routes from Portland, Oregon to Prince George, British Columbia. I don't remember exactly when this job became an escape for me, a sort of mobile hermitage. I just know that every time I sit behind the wheel, life feels a little less tangled. 3 weeks ago, I broke up with Lauren, my partner of 5 years. Not because of someone else, not because of a big fight, just because we ran out of words. The silence stretched longer. The looks lost their warmth. And then one day, she sat me down, handed me a cup of coffee, and said, "I think we should stop before we become strangers in the same house." I nodded, didn't try to stop her. She packed her things, and 2 hours later, all that was left in the house was me, 3 shirts, and a broken guitar. Today is day 19 on the road. I passed through Idaho, stopped for a night in Missoula, then rolled north into Alberta. The maple forest stretch across British Columbia has always been my favorite, especially in autumn. The leaves blaze like wildfires swallowing the ground, gold, burnt orange, blood red, then crumbling into dead brown. It's like the forest is decaying in the most beautiful way possible. The dashboard clock glowed 2:47 a.m. I'd been driving nearly 8 hours straight and needed a stop for my mandatory break. Exit 193 came into view, a narrow gravel path leading to a small, run-down rest stop. Just a few flickering sodium lamps and a rusted vending machine next to a half-collapsed restroom hut. I turned the wheel and let the truck crawl into the lot, angling it diagonally to avoid the wind head-on. The place was deserted. No other trucks. No lights in the distance. Oh, me. I let out a sigh, the kind you exhale when you know the night is going to be long and cold. I grabbed my jacket and stepped outside. The air slapped me like broken glass. Dry maple leaves carpeted the ground, crackling under my boots. The moonlight sliced through the treetops, thin, sharp, like needles piercing the night. In the distance, the maple woods stretched out like the dreamscape of some abstract painting. And then, I saw it. A figure, standing perfectly still at the edge where light met shadow, maybe 50 meters away from the lot. I squinted. At first I thought it was a signpost or a wooden statue, but no, it was human-sized, wearing what looked like a long coat, and the way it was standing was just wrong. Not upright, not balanced, tilted, like a puppet held at the wrong angle. I forced a chuckle and told myself it was probably a bear decoy, the kind locals put up to scare animals off the trails. I flicked my cigarette, turned, and walked back into the cab. Inside the truck, I pulled up YouTube, an old Willie Nelson video. Soft country music filled the space like the soundtrack to my sadness. Lauren used to tease me, said I had old man music taste. She wasn't wrong. I meant to close my eyes for a bit, maybe catch a nap, but my gaze drifted, involuntarily, toward the passenger side window. Same stretch of woods, same figure, only now, closer. I wasn't sure, but it felt like the distance had shrunk to 30 meters. No way. I had marked its position earlier. I zoomed in using the dash cam, but the image was too grainy to make anything out clearly. I hesitated, then called Troy, an old trucker buddy who trained me back in the day. "Yo, Evan, what's up calling me this late?" "I'm at exit 193. I think someone's standing out in the woods." "You sure you're not just half asleep?" "No, man. It's dead still, like a statue, like it's waiting. Try snapping a pic. Too dark, no detail. Maybe it's a drifter, or..." His voice lowered. "There's an old story about a girl who died out there, hit by a truck. Folks say her ghost still stands near the tree line." I didn't say anything. My heart started pounding harder. "Anyway, try to get some sleep, man. Call me in the morning. Don't overthink it." I ended the call. Part of me was pissed he didn't take it seriously. The other part was scared he might be right. I sat there, freezing even with 2 layers on. The dashboard read 3:12 a.m. I decided to step out one more time, for a bathroom break. The pressure in my gut wasn't going to let me rest. I grabbed my flashlight, opened the door, and stepped out. The air sliced through my collar like a razor. I walked around the side of the truck toward the back. And just before I turned to relieve myself, I glanced back toward the woods. The figure was gone. No trace, no movement, nothing. Just dry maple leaves swirling in the wind. I couldn't sleep. I sat back in the cab, both hands gripping the wheel like everything would fall apart if I let go. The night had grown thick. Around me, only the wind slipping through tiny cracks in the doors and the soft blinking of the digital clock filled the space. It felt like the truck had become a sealed box, packed tight with unease, pressing in from all sides. I probably imagined it, I told myself. Maybe it was a crooked tree. Maybe the light bent weird. I'd been driving for nearly 8 hours, sleep-deprived and worn out. My brain could be playing tricks on me. I turned the music down, searched for a forest ambient playlist, birds chirping, leaves rustling, branches brushing against one another. But the irony? Those very sounds brought my mind straight back to what I'd seen standing at the tree line. I climbed into the sleeper, pulled the blanket over my head and tried to lie still. But every time I shut my eyes, I saw that twisted posture again. The crooked neck, the unnaturally relaxed shoulders, as if someone had hung there just long enough not to fall apart. It didn't look like someone alive, and it didn't look like anything I'd ever seen before. By 3:40 a.m., I couldn't take it anymore. I unlocked my phone and sent a message to Lauren. Saw something weird tonight. Wish you were here so I could tell you. I knew she wouldn't answer. Hell, she'd probably blocked me. But typing those words and sending them into the void made me feel a little less alone. I pulled up the dash camera again, swept the lens toward the tree line. Nothing. No movement, no shape, just forest, and that awful heavy black in between. God damn it. Maybe I am hallucinating, I said to myself, letting out a short laugh. It didn't bring comfort, only made the isolation sharper, more defined. 4:00 a.m. I glanced outside again, this time not through a screen, but directly through the passenger window. My hand hovered near the door lock, ready to snap it shut at the first twitch. And then I saw it. It was back, this time much closer, only about 50 feet from the truck, right between two maple trunks, close to where I'd stepped out to take a leak earlier. Not moving, not blinking, not a sound. I froze. My heart pounded so hard I swore I could hear it echo through the steel frame. There was no direct moonlight on it now, but I saw a slight reflection, a faint glint, like one of my truck's side lights was catching on its left shoulder and arm. Same posture, still crooked. The head dipped slightly, left shoulder slumped, right shoulder lifted unnaturally. Arms dangling, but not relaxed. It looked like a puppet with strings pulled wrong. I yanked the curtain shut, stumbled backward into the sleeper, and grabbed my phone. I called Troy. Troy! It came back! Evan? What came back? The figure, in the woods. It got closer. I saw it, man. Clear as day. Calm down. You're still at exit 193, right? Yeah, but you don't get it. It doesn't stand like a person. It's off. Like it's hung there. Like its spine is broken. Troy went quiet for a second. Evan, you still got those anxiety meds I sent you? I'm not crazy. I'm not hallucinating, you son of a bitch. I'm not saying you are. I'm saying breakups mess with the brain. You're tired, vulnerable. Don't take this the wrong way. I clenched the phone tight, rage rising like fire in my chest. Everyone thought I was fragile, unstable, imagining things. They didn't see what I saw. They weren't here. They didn't hear the wind turning sharp or feel that thing watching me without blinking. I hung up. I decided to record it. Maybe it was real. Maybe it wasn't. But I needed proof. I flipped on my phone camera, pointed it toward the trees. When I looked at the screen, nothing. No figure, no movement, no dark silhouette. I peeked out the window again. Still there, standing motionless, silent. But on the screen, blank. It didn't show up on the camera. Panic set in fast. My thoughts raced. One stupid, desperate idea rose to the surface. Turn on the headlights, blast it with light, force it to reveal itself. I lunged for the switch and flipped on the high beams. Bright white light shot through the windshield, cut across the parking lot, and vanished. It didn't reach the trees. It was like the light hit a wall and died there. Or worse, like it got pulled into the darkness. That patch of forest stayed black, unmoved, as if it was absorbing everything I threw at it. I backed away, shivering. Cold sweat rolled down my spine. 4:29 a.m. I couldn't take it anymore. I didn't care about DOT laws, didn't care about the mandatory 10-hour break. I just needed to go. I fired up the engine. The truck roared to life. Tires crushed brittle maple leaves as I turned the wheel hard and pulled out of the lot. I didn't look back, but in the rearview mirror, I saw nothing. Just black, just trees, just emptiness. But I knew it was still there. I had driven nearly 20 miles since leaving exit 193, but my hands were still shaking, and my back was soaked with cold sweat. At 4:58 a.m., I pulled into an emergency stop along the highway, a flattened patch of gravel just wide enough for a single rig. No gas station, no lights, no people, but at least I was no longer near that forest. I killed the engine, letting the truck settle into silence. The dashboard told me I still had over 2 hours before my required rest break. I didn't care. I just needed to calm down, to breathe. My eyes burned, throat felt like sandpaper, and worse, I really needed to pee. I'd been holding it since the last stop. Out of fear, out of sheer nerves. But now the pressure had spread across my lower stomach, making it impossible to stay still. If I stayed in the cab any longer, I was going to lose my mind. I looked around. The highway was empty. No headlights in either direction, just me, and the fading hum of the engine cooling off. I reached into the side drawer near the sleeper and pulled out my headlamp. Flicked it on. The yellow beam shot toward the bushes behind the truck. I took a breath, opened the door, stepped down and stood upright, listening. Nothing, just the breeze, and a few leaves tumbling over asphalt. I circled to the rear of the truck, choosing the gap between the cab and the trailer, private enough, with light shielded from the road. As I started relieving myself, I let out a nervous laugh. 36 years old and scared to piss in the dark. Jesus. And then, snap. A faint sound, like a branch breaking. I spun around. Nothing. Just a few dried maple twigs scattered near the shoulder. I pointed my headlamp toward the noise. The beam cut across uneven ground, leaves, and protruding roots. And then I saw it. A reddish-brown streak across the leaves, stretching from the forest's edge all the way to the back of my trailer. I stepped closer. My pulse quickened. I crouched, reached out, touched it. Cold. Sticky. I raised the beam higher. Blood. I staggered backward like I'd touched a live wire. My scalp tightened. My heart slammed against my ribs. And then, I heard footsteps. Not fast, not frantic. Steady, slow, deliberate. Coming from the dark woods just to the right. I raised my head, switched off the headlamp. No one there, but the sound kept coming. I bolted, ran around the side of the rig, climbed into the cab, slammed the door, and locked it. 3 times. My chest heaved like I'd just sprinted a mile. I didn't turn on the lights, just sat there, motionless in the dark, peeking out through the narrow gap in the curtain. And then I saw it, the figure, this time standing directly in front of the truck, bathed in a mix of moonlight and dim highway reflections, no longer deep in the woods, no longer 50 yards away, not 30, only a few steps from me, still crooked, left shoulder drooping, right shoulder raised, and the face. There was no face, not blurred, not hidden by hair, just gone. Like the space where a face should be had been erased, leaving only a black void. I gasped, scrambling for the keys with shaking hands. I didn't think, I didn't plan, I just had to go. I slammed the ignition. The truck roared to life. I threw it into reverse, tires crunching over dry leaves and gravel. In that instant, the headlights swept across the figure, and it was gone. Vanished. I checked the mirrors. Nothing. No one. I didn't wait another second. I gunned it, speeding down the highway like something was chasing me. Around 6:00 a.m., I rolled into a rest stop near mile 91. Small gas station, diner, a few other trucks already parked. The early sunlight gave everything a washed-out glow, and the soft yellow neon of Joe's Diner almost made the world feel alive again. I stepped into the diner, still trembling. An older waitress, maybe in her 60s, poured me a coffee. "You look like you just saw a ghost, sweetheart." I hesitated, told her bits and pieces, just enough to sketch the shape of the thing. She went quiet for a long moment. "You stopped at exit 193, didn't you?" she asked. I nodded. She looked out the window, her voice lowered. "Years ago, a trucker named Max disappeared near there. They found his rig, still running, but never found his body. Last person who saw him said Max had pulled over to avoid someone standing at the edge of the woods." I let go of the spoon in my coffee. My heart slowed, dropped. I didn't say another word. I'd been sitting inside Joe's Diner for over an hour, and I hadn't touched a bite. My coffee had gone cold without me realizing it. The older waitress came by again, asking if I wanted to order something. I nodded, just to get her to go away, but my mind kept spiraling back to that image on the shoulder of the road, that faceless thing standing at the front of my truck. I used to think my cab was a fortress on wheels, a safe space, a little island of quiet I could control while the world outside spun like hell. Not anymore. Now, it felt like something was watching me. 7:02 a.m. I climbed back into the cab, trying to stuff all the chaos back into the corners of my mind. I told myself, it's just stress, just the breakup, sleep deprivation, long haul, everything will settle down. I started the engine and rolled north again, but a few miles later, as I passed through a low ridge near the town of Canel, I started hearing something. Knock, knock, knock. 3 taps. Exactly 1 second apart, faint but clear. But, like someone was gently knocking from inside the cargo hold. I turned off the radio, slowed down. Silence. I squinted into the passenger side mirror. Nothing unusual. I started to accelerate again. Knock, knock, knock. Louder this time. And I knew it wasn't outside. The sound came from behind me, from the sleeper, just a few feet from where I sat. I turned around. Nothing. Curtain closed, bedding neat. No movement, no sound. I clenched my jaw. It felt like I was being tested, like it was checking if I'd noticed. By 10 a.m., I couldn't take it anymore. I pulled into a small rest area near a lake. I needed fresh air. I needed to make sure I still existed in the physical world. I grabbed my flashlight and checked the entire truck. The cab, the trailer, the undercarriage. Every bolt, every corner. Nothing. No tracks. No animals. No fallen branches. No echoes. But then, while circling the exterior, I glanced at the passenger side windshield, and it nearly dropped me to my knees. A handprint, faint but unmistakable, pressed into the thin layer of dust on the glass. A small hand, bony, too long. 5 fingers splayed like someone had touched the glass from the inside. I gasped, threw open the door, climbed in, and checked every lock. Manual, digital, all secure. There was no way in. No one could have entered unless... I couldn't finish the thought. That afternoon, it started to drizzle. Fine mist swept across the windshield, blurring the handprint, but not enough to erase it. I I tried wiping it clean, but every time the light hit it just right, it reappeared, like an ink stain burned into memory. I called Troy again. I don't know if you think I've lost it, but something's wrong inside this truck. What do you mean? The knocking, the handprint, things that shouldn't be here. Evan, you're spiraling. Since the breakup, you've been off balance. I really think you should stop for a couple days. I'll come get you. I don't need rest. I need answers. Has anyone ever gone through something like this? Has anyone ever seen it? Troy went quiet, then sighed. I don't know what you saw, but there was this old guy at a truck stop in Idaho. Told me once, some things can't catch you until you invite them into the cab. I laughed at him back then, but now I'm not so sure anymore. That night, I parked at a rest stop outside Williams Lake. Weak Wi-Fi, but enough to open the laptop. I started searching. Maple Forest ghost sightings, British Columbia. Faceless figure in woods, Canada. Trucker horror stories, shadow man knocking. Page after page. Forum threads. Anonymous posts. The same descriptions, over and over again. Crooked figure standing in the trees. 3 knocks on the cab at 3 a.m. Handprint on the glass with every lock still engaged. And one comment stopped me cold. If it knocks and you don't answer, it waits. But the moment you look back, you've already let it in. I slammed the laptop shut, and then I heard it. Right then. Instantly. 3 beats. Knock, knock, knock. From behind me. This time, not gentle. It pounded, like whoever was on the other side already knew I was going to open. I didn't turn around. I closed my eyes, and I refused to confirm it was real. I didn't sleep that night. After the 3rd knock, I sat in the cab like a statue, motionless, eyes wide open, heart pounding like war drums. Every time the wind hit the side of the truck, I flinched, like someone was exhaling right into the back of my neck. I didn't dare look behind me, didn't check the rear view, didn't touch the dash camera, because deep down, I knew. If I acknowledged it, I'd lose control. By 7 o'clock a.m., the sky was wrapped in mist, and the cold sliced right through my clothes. I pulled out of the rest stop without coffee. I just wanted to go, anywhere, far, crowded, bright. The next stop was Kamloops, a small city with a dense industrial district. I had a delivery scheduled there, and I prayed the presence of other trucks, security cameras, people coming and going, would act as a final fortress. I was wrong. As soon as I entered the city, something felt off. Everything looked normal, pedestrians, traffic, pop music echoing from digital billboards, but inside me, something was screaming. It was still here. I could feel it like an invisible animal clinging to my spine. I pulled into the logistics yard, completed the drop-off, then returned to a trucker rest lot a few blocks away. They had a small diner called Hudson's, Wi-Fi, CCTV coverage, and a gas station about 100 meters off. I thought, finally, some peace. I really believed that, until I checked my dash cam feed while sipping coffee. At first, the footage was normal. Cabin empty, no movement. Then, in the top left corner of the frame, a fixed image, like a paused video, caught in the convex mirror mounted on my trailer. A shadowy figure, back turned, standing between 2 parked trucks. I jerked upright, zoomed in. Couldn't see the face, just a dark outline. A long coat, slightly tilted. That same wrong posture. I sprang from my seat and ran outside, heart hammering. There was no one there. The 2 trucks were parked exactly as shown, but the space between them, empty. I walked slowly around the cab. My palms were damp, eyes scanning every crevice like I was inspecting a stranger's rig. And then I saw it. A faint, muddy footprint on the side step of my cab. No shoes, no socks, barefoot, still moist. It had climbed in. I didn't have the strength to rationalize anymore. I parked under a high-angle security camera and walked into the operations office. Tried to sound calm. "I think someone might have gotten into my cab. Can I review the camera feed?" The morning staff was a South Asian guy, Raj. He gave a polite nod and queued up the footage. I stood beside him, barely blinking, and the footage showed nothing. No one approached. No movement. No figure. Raj looked at me. "Maybe someone just passed by? I didn't see anything unusual." I nodded, forced a smile. But inside, I knew something had entered. Just not something a camera could see. That afternoon, I picked up my next load. Dry goods bound for Prince George. My final haul before heading back to Oregon. I tried to focus on the road, but the mirrors began showing wrong reflections. At times, I'd see headlights behind me when I knew there was no one there. Other times, a flash of movement in the sleeper, like someone ducking out of sight. But whenever I turned around, empty. Each time, it felt like a piece of me went missing. Then the voices started. Low, broken, from the back seat. "I'm cold. I'm standing here. You saw me." Gang. I slammed the brakes in the middle of the highway. I couldn't take it anymore. I flipped on every light, threw open the doors, climbed out, and screamed into the open road. "What do you want? Why are you following me? I saw you. What do you want from me?" The wind howled like it understood. No response. Just my voice echoing off the trees. I stood there, shaking, chest heaving, like I had just coughed up my soul. When I finally crawled back into the cab, exhausted, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Don't scream. They won't hear you. Only I can." I drove through the night. No stops, no meals, no sleep, no calls, no texts. Whatever was following me, it didn't rest. And now, neither did I. At 2:12 a.m., just as I was crossing the high ridges south of Prince George, a new message appeared on my phone screen. "You're almost here. Stop running." No name, no area code. I tried calling back. Out of service. Number didn't exist. Meg. That's when the memories began to stir. The ones I'd locked away for the last 3 years. The night Lauren and I drove through Idaho, screaming, raw, unraveling. She cried, begged me to stop the truck. I didn't. She opened the door, standing with one foot outside, and shouted, "You never really see me. You never truly looked at me." And I hit the gas. I don't remember much after that. Just that a week later, she was gone. No note, no words, just absence. Dad. I used to think she left because she was tired of me. But now, thinking back to that look in her eyes, the one people wear when they've become invisible inside their own relationship, I finally understood. I made her disappear, the same way I'd made parts of myself vanish. And maybe that night, I invited it in. 3:04 a.m. The GPS guided me to the final drop-off, a decaying warehouse halfway up a wooded hill at the edge of town. Once a logistics hub, now just a skeleton. Right address, correct delivery code, but no staff, no partner truck, no contact number, just me and it. I turned off the engine, sat there, still. Don't get out. There's nothing there. That voice inside me, the last thread of reason, begged. But the other part, the one already breached, opened the door. I walked around the trailer. The wind hit my neck like a blade. Moonlight slivered through cloud cover, giving everything a dead, milky hue. I unlocked the back, pulled the doors open. Nothing. Empty. Or maybe it had never held anything. I stood there, stunned, looked around, and then I saw it. Standing near the edge of the warehouse wall, 10 meters away, closer than ever before. For the first time, I saw its face. Not blank, not blurry. Lauren's face. But not how I remembered her. Skin pale as bone, eyes dark, sucked inward like tunnels, neck twisted, shoulders sagged, that crooked, dead posture. She didn't speak, just stood there. And from her lips, a thick line of black blood slowly dripped. I collapsed to my knees. Didn't cry, didn't scream, just whispered over and over. I'm sorry. I didn't see you. I never really saw you. She, or it, took one step forward. No footfall, just wind, shifting direction like the entire forest inhaled at once. I shut my eyes, bracing for the end, for judgment, for forgiveness, if it still existed. But nothing touched me. Just silence. I opened my eyes. She was gone. The warehouse was empty. The wind had stopped. Back inside the cab, on the driver's seat, was a slip of paper. Thin, damp, written in red ink. Do you see me now? I don't remember driving away. Just that by sunrise, I was already heading south again, retracing the old highways. And for the first time in a long while, sunrise didn't look beautiful. It just looked like light that came too late.